Friends, I welcome you to my channel. Before listening to this story, I will ask you to like and subscribe. It is not difficult for you, but it is pleasant for me. And we're starting. It's funny how people can underestimate the consequences of their actions. My name is Ryan. The best way to describe me is to say that I am a lover and a man with gentle manners who gives his wife everything she wants. It took me 2 marriages to do this, but now I finally realized that being restrained and giving everything to the one you love can lead to contempt and disrespect. It will never happen again. These spoiled women think they can do something and hide it from their partners. As long as they never find out, everything is fine. They hide their guilt in various ways until they are caught, and then suddenly regret and explain that they did not want their spouse to find out about it and get hurt. Do they even hear themselves talking? What should we think when they say they never wanted you to know? Do they realize that they admit that they are doing this behind your back and regret only that they were caught? What an insult that is. I am convinced that these women cannot understand normal thinking. Sandy and I met after we broke up with a dysfunctional relationship. She spent 3 years with her boyfriend, and Billy dumped her for a younger and more attractive girl. Sandy left the relationship resentful and with self-esteem problems due to the fact that she was abandoned by the man she loved. She never got over Billy, and that always bothered me on some level. My name is Ryan, and I'm 6 years older than Sandy. I was married for 5 years to a stunningly hot woman who shocked my world. I was madly in love with her and expected to spend the rest of my life with my ex-wife Charlotte. However, she took several lovers behind my back at a time when I was completely fascinated by her. It took me a year of her cheating to find out about her infidelity, and it hurt me a lot. I left her and swore that I would never let it happen again. After that, I realized that trust would be a problem for me in any new relationship. Sandy and I knew about each other's luggage. I helped Sandy overcome her self-esteem issues. She went to the gym and gave her body an amazing figure. She spent all her free time shopping for new clothes, spending hours at the beauty salon and on the tennis courts. With my help and support, she turned into a confident, beautiful woman. In turn, knowing my story, Sandy worked hard to help me overcome my trust issues. She always made it clear to me that I was her only love and how lucky she was to have found me. Every day she tried to tell me how much she loved me and made sure that all my wishes were fulfilled. Making love was still great, and we did it at least 4 times a week. We were still kissing and cuddling on the couch and making love to each other. We even started talking about children. We were each other's soulmates. Life was good, at least that's what I thought. A week after our 6th anniversary, my world turned upside down. I noticed that my wife was wearing a dress that I hadn't seen before and looked spectacular, which was strange for a late weekday morning. So I didn't spy on my wife, but we have a video surveillance system at home that I sometimes watch when I'm bored at work. I love watching our dog Brandy, my little dachshund, as she has become a stress reliever after my stressful job as a bond broker. However, when I saw the live stream on video that morning, I became curious. There was the love of my life in a very short red dress and very high heels. Her hair was styled and her makeup was amazing. I hadn't seen her so beautiful in years, which made my stomach turn, and I was worried. I immediately called my loving wife to see if I could find out what she was up to. I dialed her number on the phone. "Hi, baby. I'm just sitting here thinking about you. How's your day going? Tennis today?" "Hi, honey. I miss you. Nothing is planned for today. No tennis today because Kara hurt her ankle, so I took the day off." "Oh, that's too bad. I know how much you love to play. What are you going to do then?" "I'm not sure. I don't have anything planned. Maybe I'll go to the gym." "Would you like to meet for lunch? I can come home and pick you up." "That's so sweet, baby, but not today. I'm a little bloated and I'm not really hungry right now. I'll just have a protein shake at the gym. I'll see you tonight. I love you, baby." I said goodbye without my usual "I love you." I'm sure she caught it because I always say "I love you" before we end our calls. She lied to me and I need to find out why. Of course, some things die hard, and although I trusted Sandy after all these years, I still had a GPS tracker in her car that I rarely used. I originally put it there for safety, but unfortunately, I've now used it to spy on my wife. As soon as I hung up the phone, I left my office, went to my car, and turned on its tracker. She was heading downtown, and I drove in that direction. My office was not far from the city center, and 15 minutes later I caught up with her, noticing how she drove into the garage. I parked outside and waited in the doorway for her to come out of the garage. 5 minutes later, my beautiful wife, in her high heels and short dress, was heading to Fellini, an upscale restaurant. I stood there feeling my stomach clench and prayed that I wouldn't be deceived by another woman. When I saw her waving at the man in front of the restaurant, I knew I was in trouble. I moved closer, trying to stay out of sight, and saw him greet her with a kiss. They exchanged a few words as he took her hand and went inside. I quickly crossed the street and watched through the window as they stood in front of the hostess, hugging each other around the waist. I noticed that Sandy was leaning lovingly against his shoulder. Tears began to fill my eyes until anger rose in me. I wiped my eyes, took out my phone, and started taking some pictures through the window. When I started to take them off, I saw him turn to Sandy and kiss her passionately. I took some pictures just at the moment when she was kissing him back. My heart broke when she wrapped her arms around his neck and pulled him even deeper. At that moment, I turned on the video camera and captured their loving kiss. The combination of pain in my heart and rage in my head was leading me down a dark path. Before I could decide what to do, the hostess led them to their table. My blood boiled when I recognized this man, and it was Billy, her ex-boyfriend. The guy who dumped her and ruined her life, and now she was back in his arms. She knew how I felt about him, and that I had made it clear to her that she should never talk to him again. She clearly didn't agree with my wishes. My anger got the better of me when I realized that in just the last hour she had lied to me, dressed attractively to meet her ex, kissed him passionately, and spent the whole day with him. This level of disrespect and humiliation was unacceptable, and I couldn't live with it anymore. The promise I made to myself after my last marriage prevented me from being patient and accepting this level of disrespect. It was over, and all that was left was to hear more lies and excuses from my future ex-wife. Still full of anger, I drove back to the office and ended the day at my desk, trying to figure out how this could happen again. Feeling sorry for myself for the next 5 hours, I went home, already knowing my next step. I was wondering if Sandy would tell me the truth about her day, or continue to deceive me, as that would make my last step easier. With a lot of effort, I was able to suppress my anger and drove home to face the breakdown of my marriage. As I turned into my driveway, I felt like I was crying over the loss of the woman I loved and respected. Sandy was setting a delicious dinner on the table, dressed in a cute outfit, and behaved very affectionately towards me when I entered the kitchen. She kissed me hard and told me how much she missed me. Typical cheating wife nonsense, I thought. The bitch tried to ease her guilt and make amends by showing more love than in the last 6 months. No matter how hard I tried to act normal, it obviously didn't work when she looked at me and asked, "Honey, are you okay? Has something happened?" I poured myself a tall glass of Mr. Daniels, tried to smile, relax, and said, "It's okay. It's just been a busy day. Let me get dressed and tidy up for dinner and I'll be down soon." In the bedroom, I changed my clothes and sat on the bed, finishing my drink and letting the elixir wash over my body. Calming down, I went down to the kitchen and saw my beautiful wife smiling and happy with dinner on the table. She was in a great mood, clearly pleased with the day she spent with her boyfriend. When we were sitting there together, I started a conversation. "It's a wonderful dinner, Sandy, and you dressed so beautifully for me today, thank you." "I love you, honey, and I like cooking for you," she said with a satisfied smile. We sat in awkward silence for a few minutes while we ate. I noticed Sandy glancing at me, wondering what was bothering me. Did she feel guilty? Will she tell me the truth about today? I'll find out in the next few minutes. "So tell me about your day and what you did for lunch," I said without threat in my voice. "Well, after you called, I went to the gym for a few hours, ate a protein bar, and then came home to cook dinner for you. It's been a pretty boring day," she offered as an answer. She saw my face and noticed that my eyes were filled with tears and quickly looked down at her plate. In a low voice, I said, "So, Sandy, how are we going to do this? Are we just going to meet with the lawyers, or do you want to see a psychologist first?" "What are you talking about, honey?" "About the divorce, of course," I replied. "Stop being stupid. What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about the end of our marriage, divorce, separation, figuring out how we can do this and stay friends." "I don't understand. Why do you want to get a divorce?" "Really? I'll give you a few minutes to think about your question before I answer." Suddenly, she became nervous. Her hands fidgeted with the glass, and she no longer looked into my eyes. She was silent for several minutes. "No," I lied, knowing it didn't really matter, but for some reason I didn't want her to know. "Why are you asking me if I've been following you?" "Is there anything I should know?" I could tell she was still confused and didn't know what to say. Like all scammers, they deny it. As expected, she said that nothing was happening and she didn't understand anything. Why are you asking me about the divorce? With a sad expression on my face, I looked into her eyes for a long time, hoping that she would open up and tell me the truth. After a long silence, I said, "Well, let me show you what's bothering me, Sandy." I opened my phone and showed her one photo of her and Billy kissing when they met outside the restaurant. This photo could be explained by a friendly kiss and greeting. I didn't want to show her any more photos until I heard more about her lies. Her jaw dropped and I saw tears welling up in her eyes. She made up excuses, of course. "Honey, I can explain. It was just a welcome kiss. Nothing happened. Where did you get this picture?" "So, how's Billy these days, baby?" I'll tell you how I got this picture. I was crossing the street leaving the software store when I thought I noticed you walking hand in hand into the restaurant. I crossed the street and went to the window to see you standing there, and he was hugging you with one arm. My first thought was that it wasn't you, but of course I was wrong, it was you. My second thought is, why is she wearing this short attractive dress and high heels? She never dresses like that for me anymore. Then I noticed that you were with Billy and everything immediately fell into place. I started taking some photos right at the moment when you leaned over and kissed him, and that's how I got this photo. In the next photo I showed her, she had her arms around his neck and her short dress was pulled up to her ass, which was on public display. You really looked gorgeous in that dress, and your hairstyle and makeup looked spectacular. Were you heading to a modeling shoot or getting a job as a girl from the track? Tell me, why did you dress like that for him? I can't remember the last time you wore something so attractive for me. She put her head in her hands and began to cry, and I stared at her intently, waiting for an answer. When she didn't say anything, I continued. You know that my new S22 phone has an amazing camera, and it allows me to zoom in with great clarity. Look, let me show you, I said, approaching her left arm, which was wrapped around Billy's neck. I zoomed in on her ring finger, which now had no wedding rings, and held the image up to her face. No wedding rings today? It's funny. I don't remember you ever taking them off in all the time we've been together. Today must have really been a special day. Now do you understand why I'm talking about a divorce, dear? You lied to me this morning about your day. You took off your wedding rings, dressed up as a girl of easy virtue to meet her old lover, and she lied to me about her day again a few minutes ago. You're sitting here and you keep lying to my face and saying that you went to the gym today and didn't eat anything for lunch. You put on your most beautiful outfit for your ex-lover and spent the day with him while I work on making our lives better. You broke your promise never to see him again. You kissed and flirted with another man in public. She treated me like a fool and just lied to me. I do not know if you made love to him today or something else, but it really does not matter. Whatever you say will be a lie in my mind, but what you did showed me that you are not keeping your promises, and you will lie to me to hide everything. You tried your best to look good for your ex-lover. You were close to him, and you abandoned your marriage by taking off your rings, and then you lied to me over and over again. In my opinion, this is a good reason for a divorce, and you know it. Sandy was shocked to the core. She just realized that she hadn't really thought it through, and the way Ryan discussed it all made her feel like a cheated wife. Up to this point, she had just considered it a little teasing and flirting. It's nothing serious. For the first time since Billy had approached her, she realized that this had turned into an emotional relationship, and they could easily be regarded as cheating on her husband. Not physically, but certainly emotionally. She was still crying and knew that if it had been her husband's affair, she would have behaved exactly the same way. What have I done? She told herself. Her heart ached and she felt sick in her stomach because of the pain she had caused her husband. She had to reach out to Ryan and save this marriage. Ryan, you have to believe me. Nothing happened. After lunch, we went our separate ways. But you have to believe me. Nothing happened. It was just lunch, she said, sobbing and looking for a way out. Now I understand what it looks like, and if everything were different, I would feel the same as you do now. And I'm so sorry. Could you please try to forgive my stupidity? This is beyond stupid since you did it with your ex-lover, the only person you promised to avoid. Can you explain why you dressed like that for him without your wedding rings? Can you explain why you held hands and kissed him? Can you explain why you kept lying to my face? Tell me, darling, does it mean anything to you? And yes, if it were the other way around, I'm sure you would feel very different. Ryan, I know it looks bad, but I took off my rings when I was painting my nails. I forgot them when I realized I was late. It sounds lame and I can't excuse it, but I can only promise you that I didn't try to hide them. He knows we're married. He knows you're married, but he still wants to see you and kiss you passionately in public, and you agreed to everything. This is an unconvincing excuse. Going behind my back with your ex, lover, and lying about it is, in my opinion, a violation of the terms of the deal. A little annoyed, she said, I'm not sure what to say except that it was just lunch with a friend and I just wanted to look good. Well, it doesn't matter. You lied to me and met him. Do you think I'm a complete idiot? I know that this meeting had to be planned in advance, and you hid it from me without even bothering to mention it. And when I saw you two kissing like that, it was clear that you wanted more than I could give you. Ryan, honey, we can't get divorced over something like this. Nothing happened. He was in town and invited me to lunch. I know I shouldn't have left, and I know how jealous you are, but we've had a long relationship. I thought one lunch after not seeing him for so many years wouldn't be a big deal. I think I dressed in a special way to show him what he lost when he left me. I kind of wanted to tell him to his face what he had lost and how happy I was. It still hurts me when I remember how he abandoned me back then, and I wanted to get a little revenge. Yes, I kissed him, but it wasn't a romantic kiss, but rather like two friends just met or said goodbye. You have to believe me. I don't want anything to do with him. Please, baby, let's get this over with. I'll do whatever you want. Really? Doesn't that mean anything? When she heard that she had a chance to save the marriage, she smiled, wanting to hear what she needed to do, and said, Yes, of course, I'll do whatever you want, baby. Okay, Sandy, I'll give you one chance and only one. I have only one request. Let me look at your cell phone. Why? She looked at me with a puzzled expression. Well, Sandy, if that doesn't mean anything, then give me your phone. I want to see if there are any text messages for him and what you two have been saying to each other. No, you don't have to see this, she said, looking at the floor. She knew that if I read the messages, it would hurt me and reveal a lot of things that she didn't want me to see. That's exactly what I thought. So let's go back to my original question. How do we want to do this? She started crying and asking me to forgive her, and that she would never do it again. It brought back heartbreaking memories of my first marriage. I couldn't believe I was reliving this nightmare. This time I wasn't going to believe all these lies and let it go on. Wait, please, wait, Ryan. If I give you the phone, will you promise to give me another chance? You should know that I love you and have never cheated on you before. I may have gotten into a stupid online relationship, and yes, with my ex-lover, but I was stupid and behaved like a teenage girl. The flirting and compliments were pleasant, and it all flattered my ego. I know how childish that sounds. If I give you the phone, you have to promise that you'll give me another chance. I can't do this, Sandy, but I promise you, if you don't give me the phone, we're 100% done. My next action will be to call Mark Wilson, the lawyer I've already talked to, and I'll ask him to file the divorce papers this week. She knew there was no other choice, and she knew exactly what I was going to read, their romantic texts from the last 2 months. All she could hope for now was that I realized it was a stupid emotional mistake and she was still completely mine. She still believed that since there was no lovemaking, I would understand and forgive her. In her opinion, she should have made it clear to me that she had never had physical contact with him or anyone else. When Ryan opened the text messaging app, he saw Sandy sitting with her head in her hands, crying and saying softly, I'm sorry. Please forgive me for being stupid and an idiot. I love you, Ryan, and there's no one else. The text messages said something completely different. The ones that really hit him hard were from Sandy to Bill. I still love you, was the first phrase that cut like a knife. I've missed you, was another one that made him angry. Otherwise, everything was as expected. They were discussing the old days and how they missed being together. But the last few messages hit Ryan hard between the eyes. When she told Billy that her marriage was outdated and that she was bored, and Billy said that he missed her wonderful figure and couldn't wait for them to become one, it hurt so much that he wanted to scream. But her response made him feel sick when he saw a photo of her figure with the comment, "My little kitty can't wait," which caused Ryan to slam the phone shut in disgust and throw it on the table. Well, it opened my eyes. In the end, I'll forgive you, Sandy, but I won't stay married to someone I can't trust, and it's clear from your actions that I can't trust you. What I have just read is what I expected, and what I will not allow myself to live with. Maybe your boyfriend can make your life more exciting, and maybe he'll take you back now that he knows what he's been missing. Sandy, I'm going to miss you, but I'm going to find a woman who wants to be exceptional to me and won't disrespect me with lies and secrets. Ryan, what should I do to prove my love to you and make you change your mind? Nothing. When I saw you walking hand in hand with him, standing there, and he hugs you and kisses you, my heart broke. Now, knowing that you were sending pictures of your pussy and saying that you still love him, and then telling him that you were tired of our marriage, it was more than any normal man could bear. It's sad, but I feel like all our time spent together was wasted, and I was nothing but a fool. I work hard, plan a family, take care of you in our house, only to discover that you're dating an ex-lover. Do you understand that if you had told me the truth when I asked you about your day, how could I have understood it? I mean, I can almost understand what you might have wanted to do based on this story. But the problem is that you hid it from me and lied about it. No, I know that if I hadn't found out, you would never have told me. That's the problem, baby. Tell me I'm wrong, and you'd tell me all about your date with your ex-lover after you got home. Don't worry, I already know the answer. Trust, loyalty, and honesty are my main values, and you trampled on them without thinking. You knew how it happened to me in the past, and yet you did it without thinking about us. If you had called me and told me what you were doing, I wouldn't have been happy, but I would have let you have lunch. Now I have to wonder if you've done this before. If we stayed together, I'd have to wonder if what you're telling me is true. What do you do when I'm not around? Are you with him or with other men? I can't spend my days with these thoughts, and it's not fair to both of us. How can I just forget how easily you lied to me? Yes, kissing him and looking so attractive to him is disturbing. The absence of wedding rings is harmful, but lies and deceit are unacceptable. What I know for sure is that I won't live like this anymore. Ryan, you're right, and I made a stupid mistake. I lied because I knew you'd be mad, but I had to do it. Even if it was a mistake, I needed to calm down somehow. I thought that one lunch and I would get my revenge, without harm to myself and without a foul. But now I see what I've done, and I'm really sorry for that. I would never do anything to hurt you. I promise. Can we work on this? I want to be transparent and open like you. My problem is that I never want to hurt anyone and will avoid it if possible. Now I see where not being honest is actually worse. Well, honesty and transparency are the only things that could save this marriage. But you weren't transparent and honest until you were forced to comply. The fact that you didn't let me read your text messages until you realized you had no other choice sealed your fate. Tears rolled down her face as she sat, knowing how these messages revealed her dishonesty and lack of trust. She knew I wouldn't accept it, and eventually realized that her emotional relationship with another man was as destructive as if she had dragged him into bed. She told herself she would never make that mistake again. Unfortunately, our happy marriage has come to an end. We signed the papers and officially divorced 3 months later. We sold the house, split our money, and parted as friends. No reconciliation, no revenge or hatred. All that remains is the smoldering ashes of a once happy marriage destroyed by deception, lies, and loss of trust. I continued to date, but after getting burned twice, marriage was not part of my future. Sandy and Billy slept together, and 2 months later, Sandy became pregnant. Billy dumped Sandy as soon as he heard about the pregnancy and told her to take care of it because he wasn't ready for kids. The next morning, Billy disappeared, leaving Sandy with the baby in her arms. I heard from her sister Debbie that she was just a shell of her old self. Her self-esteem was undermined again. Sandy remained in a constant state of depression when she lost her baby after a violent fall down a long flight of stairs in her apartment. Her life has gone from heaven to hell, and all because of her vanity and selfishness. She just couldn't forgive herself for ruining our happy marriage and losing my love and respect. Trust, loyalty, respect. You screw up with one and you lose all three.